All right, buddy. It's Guide20 time. 2003 Sixon Cebulian. That's an interesting name for a car. All right, let's read the guide here. Good morning. I was a victim of a road accident. My beloved sports Sixon must have been severely damaged. I have a little crate drove out of a side street, and I didn't even have the chance to react. It all happened so quickly. All I saw was a cloud of smoke flowing from under the hood. When I walked out of the car, the situation turned out to be manageable. The bumper was a bit lifted and the headlamp was damaged. In spite of the strange sound from the engine compartment, I figured I'd go back home. Unfortunately, my plan, to say the least, didn't work. After driving 100 meters, everything shut down. I think that the car battery was damaged because the car didn't start at all. Check what happened and do what you can to get up and running. The parts don't have to be new. All that matters is that they are good. Good for the wallet. Repair or replace body panels, change and drain the oil and refill with new. That's back to what we've done on every story car except for the last one. Spray at the factory color, and there'll be some other tasks that we have to engage in. So this ought to be entertaining. Hi, Lucas. This is for you, buddy. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and grab the order. And it is missing some body panels. Got a rusted front wheel there. So, actually the rest of the car doesn't look like it's terrible shape, right? Huh. Well, let's just do our standard startup. We'll wash the car and then kind of walk over it and see what's going on here, right? Give it a wash on the inside and wash the car. Which actually, before you paint a car, you have to have it clean before you paint it. Otherwise, you get hit with a $100 fee to prior to painting the car. So it's actually good to do it right off the bat. All right, so we have 3 pages of undiscovered parts. Front bumper, left fender, license plate, and headlight. So it's honestly just the missing panels that we have to replace. So what I would do is go to assemble mode and then just hit X on the parts that are missing. And we'll go to T. We'll buy a license plate first. And like I've done previously, I always buy a Wyoming plate. And let's get the bumper, left headlight, and the left fender. And we'll pop these parts on. All right, so that is an easy fix for the body. Let's pop in here. What were the other tasks? Change brake fluid, change coolant, headlight alignment, wheel alignment. So coolant and brake fluid. So we'll have to grab our drain tool first. Let's drain out the old fluid. There's that. And drain the old coolant, of which there appears to be none. So that's easy. Go to part unmount. Unmount the cap. Oh, hold on now. Look at that radiator. Let's just make sure this is drained. Okay, it is. I'm going to take this radiator off because that radiator, yeah, that looks bad. Was that parts that had to be replaced? Radiator fan housing, yep, so we do have to replace those. We'll just go ahead and address that real quick and we can be able to put our coolant right back in. Radiator A, fan housing fan, and radiator fan housing. Click, click, click. Part mount, let's pop those bad boys on. And while we're speaking of it, just take this bottle off. It looks terrible too. Do they want us to replace the coolant reservoir bottle? They do. Just by looking at things, sometimes you can figure out what needs to be fixed on a car. Alright, let's mount that up. Now we can go to part unmount and put in some nice new clean coolant. and a nice new reservoir bottle, and a nice new radiator. And looking at that shock looks like crap. So that's probably bad. Cross member looks bad. Trans looks bad. So we got some work to do. Let's see if we can just do a good old-fashioned diagnostic setup on this. We'll start with the onboard diagnostic tool. Run this. %. So spark plugs, ignition coils, ECU, ABS module, all that stuff's good. Can we do a compression test? Nope, because it can't be started. Okay. Well, the guy was worried about the battery. Let's just pull it for him. He's right, the battery is bad. Now, even a 4% battery, we can discharge. So, is there any of the other diagnostic tools we can use with it out running? We check the tread on the tires. That we can do. Hey, there's a bad tire, 13%. It's probably going to be the front left, 10 to 1. Yep, one bad tire, which is on the list. And probably won't be able to fuel test because, yeah, it can't be started. Electronic multimeter we can do. It's going to come up with a battery because there is no battery. Because we just pulled it. But at least less of the rest of the electro-digitals we can check. Alright, so that's fine. Let's go to examine mode. Yep, it was that driver's side tire that was bad. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of eagle eye here on the engine. See if the mechanic can pick up anything that's wrong with the engine right off the bat. Pretty sure this cross member is going to be bad. Yep, it is. And the rim and tire we already know are bad. Well, the tire we know is bad. I'm assuming the rim is bad. Air filtre. Okay. On the fuse box there. On the suspension on this side. Check the exhaust. That looks fine. And then we'll examine the rear suspension. Both sides. Just by my eye view, it all looked shiny in the back, which generally means it's probably fine. But hey, get a little bit of an EXP for this, you know. It takes a few seconds. Normal. Let's check our parts list. So we only have, well, we have a few parts that are not yet discovered. But it looks like suspension is going to be part of the deal here. Trans is going to be part of the deal. I can just tell you that. Alright, let's pop this over to lifter A. Let's get her up in the air. We'll drain the oil, pull the oil filter, take off the front suspension parts that look bad, and we'll see where we're at then. Move this to car lifter A, drain the oil. I'm going to run over here, throw the battery on the boiler. Put that back. Pull the filter. Our mount. You know we're going to get a new oil filter, so I'll just pop that on right now. Alright, can we pull the oil pan? Alright, so just eyeball pistons and the crankshaft and the crankshaft bearings, and those all look fine. So probably we're not going to have to do lower engine work. If we have any other engine work, it's probably going to be upper engine work that we couldn't identify. We know this wheel's bad. Let's pull this. Pop out the drive axle, bearing, brake system, which we know is bad. And then we're going to see how cool having that inventory of parts is that we purchased in our last guide video. How much of a difference that makes when we start working on this car. Pop this off. That upper shock off. And pull the knuckle. Alright, let's grab these rubber bushings out of the cross member. And we're going to grab that. Got to get that link on that side. Oh, maybe I'm going to get it. I probably have to pull the tire to get the link. Okay. Now I can take the link. Get the sway bar. Lower suspension arm off. Excuse me. And drop the cross member. Alright, so now looking at parts, we only have a few. Actually, it looks like one part not discovered. And just being a betting man, because I'm a betting man, I have a suspicion it's going to be the trans. Now, is this a starter I can pull from here? Nope. This is the 4-cylinder that you have to have the car down out of the air, be in the engine compartment before you can pull the starter. Let's click into the engine. Let's go ahead and pull the starter out. Now to drop the trans, you have to have it up in the air, so we'll pop it back up in the air and grab the trans. And we'll see if I guessed right that the transmission was the bad part. Parts list. Gearbox, I just said gearbox in line 4, so it was that. So now we have all the parts that are bad pulled. We have to drain the oil, spray it with factory paint, headlight alignment, and wheel alignment. Alright, so let's go over to the tire machine. Let's separate the bad rim and bad tire. Do this first. Alright, and then just for kicks, I'm going to separate the bad shock. Even though I know there's no parts of this combined shock that looks repairable. Go over here to the lathe. There's no brakes that I can lathe. There's a few parts that, you know, we're in mild repair, but because we can, we're just going to go ahead and repair them. Alright, so that's repaired. Then let's go ahead and sort by bad condition. Tie rods, we don't need to buy. Rubber bushings, we don't need to buy. Filter, we don't need to buy. I think I have steering knuckles. I'm going to add that just to be on the safe side. Front suspension cross member, we need. Rubber bushings, we don't. A 17-inch rim classic. I have to grab my pen and paper so that we can write down 17-inch. Inch. Vented disc brake. I think we have front springs. We got brake pads. Shock absorber, we're good. Knuckle cover, we're fine. Drive axle, we need. Caliper, we're fine. Link, we're fine. Gearbox, we'll buy. Lower suspension arm, we're fine. And then the tire is a 215/45. All that, and then I'll get rid of these old bushings, old bearings. I'm just not putting them back on. The old end length, fine. Sell it. There we go. Alright, so we got rid of the parts that are bad. Let's go to our shop. Front sway bar. I'm not buying the knuckle because I think I have knuckles in our inventory of parts that we bought last time. But we'll see. Front drive axle and a gearbox. Then we'll go to the rim store and buy a 17-inch rim. And standard tire, 215. It's a 17-incher, 215, 45. Buy that. Then we'll go to the tire machine, install tire on rim. Pull that off and balance the wheel. You cannot put an unbalanced wheel on the car. If you mount a tire, take it off, and then you go over to the car and like, hey, why can't I install this? I have the tire. It's in my inventory. You didn't balance the wheel. Make sure you balance. It gets really irritating when you're trying to install something. You're like, oh, it won't install. Why? It's because you missed a step. You didn't balance the wheel. All right, rubber bushings are in the cross member. Lower suspension arm. All right, sway bar. End link. And you'll notice we had those already. Didn't have to buy them. Look at this. Tie rod. Knuckle. Okay, I didn't have the knuckle. That's what I wasn't sure about, if I had bought extra knuckles or not. This time we're going to. We're going to buy a dozen. Now we have extra knuckles. There we go. Tie rod. Lower suspension arm. Knuckle cover. Front wheel hub. Nice new bearing. Vented disc brake. Brake pad. Caliper. I might need extra caliper cylinders. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, it's going to go to the brake shop, and we're just going to buy a mess of cylinders. That way we just got a pile. Shock absorber. End link. And pop on the gearbox. Okay, drive axle. Put on the nice new balanced. Oh wait, hang on a second. I want to make sure I put the newest one on that side. Yep, I did. All right, then we'll pop over to the other side. Throw on the other drive axle. And pop on the original passenger wheel. Okay, we'll get her down out of the air. Click in the engine compartment, go in here to part mount, put on the starter, which we have a spare one. Now we'll go to part unmount, unmount the oil, and put in some oil. Oil in. And car status. Just got to grab a battery, which we have over on our boiler right now. Pop over here, head to the engine compartment, part mount, and we got your battery. Car status. So that part is done. Now we just have to spray it factory color, headlight, and wheel alignment. So let's go to move the car to the test path. Head over to the wheel alignment tool. And it's aligned. Aligned. There's that. All right, wheels are aligned. Escape out of that. Then line up the headlamps. There's the left. And the right. Both aligned. I'll just save the game. It's kind of a habit I get into. Move it to the paint shop. And click paint. Paint factory color. Factory color is white. Paint it. Check car status. All tests are done. $9,400. Finish the order. Go to our inventory, get our case. And we'll go with 3 and 4. XP and scrap. And that leveled us up. And we're just going to do a quick save. Pop out here. Let's go find our mechanics toolbox and apply that skill point. Can we get the last eagle eye? I think we can. Yep. And we'll get some running speed. Alright, so we almost have our mechanic maxed out. We have a couple of running speed points to get. We're getting our mechanic in a exercise program apparently. And up next we have the 2017 LaCroix Fret, a minivan, cargo minivan. That'll be a fun one to work on. Long story, so we'll read that one in the next video. Luke, Isaac, Parker, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm gonna do another save, and we'll see you in the next guide video.